My comment really, it's more of a comment actually, since you're going back to your people and talking with them. On the topic of tools for small farmers, I think what worries me as a beginning farmer the most is that the USDA regulation does not preclude small farmers from being able to get into business. And I know that we have a whole host of problems stemming from big agribusiness and the way that their business is carried out with foodborne pathogens and you name it. But if we don't have some way of discerning between the big agribusiness and the small farmer, then the regulation that needs to be in place to keep the consumer safe from big agribusiness is going to put all of the small and medium farmers out of business. And so I think it's really important that when you go back to your people, you make sure that you mention to them that while regulation might be important for some of these big agribusiness, there has to be a tool in place to allow the small farmer to do business the way that we do business, which is shown to be much safer from a food pathogen standpoint. And the other thing I wanted to point out is that I think I was recently speaking with a friend, and we were talking about all of these issues where I work in this sector also for work, not just as a farmer, trying to promote Think Local First campaigns. And we were talking about, oh, well, maybe there's some subsidies for small farmers, instead of just the big corn and soybeans. And someone said, well, if they're subsidized, then it's not sustainable. That, having a subsidized farm is not then sustainable when the administration changes and that subsidy goes away. And so I think that maybe a better way to approach this is if funding was going into Think Local First campaigns and developing local markets for our local farms so that people don't have to ship, they don't have to export. They're able to sell their food to the people that live next door to them without having to. Anyway, I guess we all feel the same way on this. So if there's a way that regulation can be modified to allow that, and funding can be put into helping create those kinds of markets, I think the farmers will succeed on their own if we're allowed to market locally. So.
Those are some great comments. One of the things that we have been discussing and making sure in all of our regulations, there's a lot of discussion about food safety, and we've been working with FDA in that. I was just in Rochester, New York, which is, completely different agriculture compared to here. Not completely different, but they face different challenges. They use different methods. And what we're talking is things need to be scale appropriate. What you ask of a large farmer is not going to be the same as what you ask of a smaller farmer. What you ask of a farmer in Florida, in Rochester, New York, in California, cannot be the same. So we need to look at regional differences, geographical differences, challenges for those, and then scale appropriate. So that's been one thing that we have definitely been focused on is what is really scale appropriate for every farm and for any regulations that we're discussing. Talking about focusing on regional food systems, local food systems, that's what all of these programs do. So you have the Farmers Market Promotion, that's $5 million this year and $10 million next year. You have the FSMIP program, that's $1.3 million this year, and we're proposing for 2011 $2.6 million for that program. You have the value-added grants, $18 million. You have the special crop block grants, $55 million. And all of those programs are really focused on regional and local food development. And I think you guys should really tap into those resources. Of course, there's others as well, but those are really focused on tackling these issues, creating more market opportunities for producers. Our Farm to School program is focused on that as well, finding you more outlets. And then looking at, okay, if we find you an outlet, what are going to be some of the challenges that you're going to have in meeting that outlet? What works for a farmer in Illinois is not going to work for a California farmer. What an Illinois farmer can supply is not going to be the same of what a California farmer can supply. So we're very, very aware of that. I think it's important that we get out into the countryside and be further reminded of some of the challenges that all of you guys are facing and learn more about those challenges. I think that's an important element of being a public official, is getting out and recognizing that there's no one size fits all. and that has definitely been a theme that we have carried out. When I've met with the secretary, when we sit down and talk, it's no one size fits all for everyone. So take that back. Well, I think you guys have given me a lot of homework, which is good. You and I can talk about FSA loans after this, and feel free to grab me at any point, and we can discuss some of these other things that you're facing. But thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Rain. I think when she boarded her plane out of the blizzard in D.C., she was expecting the only heat that she was going to find would be at the beaches of San Diego. So thank you for giving her a very warm welcome. I do want to acknowledge that there's a lot of power for someone of her position of USDA to come and stand before this group and listen to the concerns of small farmers and to agree to stay afterwards and hear directly from you. So we really appreciate that and their attitude.